Hey everybody, and welcome to Real Good Stuff, the movie podcast for the Buzz Network. I'm Keaton. What? No.
God damn it. You're supposed to run with it.
No, you were.
God damn it. All right, start
Yes, no, never.
Just start it over.
Never
God,
starting over. I'm joined by Eric.
Please.
And I'm joined by Kief, special guest from the Neon Carnival, all the way from the Great White North of Canada. We're talking about really John Wick 3. And I really wanted to get Kief on for this episode because I'm pretty sure, Kief, you were the one who actually got me to watch the first John Wick after not doing it for so long.
Such a good movie. I really like Keanu Reeves. He's a really nice guy. I met him on the New York subway when he wasn't wearing any shoes. I've never been in New York and I've never met him. But I like him a lot.
I've heard he's the nicest guy ever.
I heard too.
I heard he's a genuinely great guy. And
he's got a really funny Reddit AMA too. It's old, but if you read it, he says some really funny stuff. Like his favorite food to cook for himself is Spam because he doesn't know how to cook. So he just reheats it. It's pretty good.
What a king. What a legend.
What a man's.
So John Wick 1 was directed by He was directed by John Stileski. John Stamos. Chad Stileski or whatever his name is. But he's basically a stunt double and a stunt coordinator and all this other shit. Never really directed before. But he jumped in and his first attempt was John Wick 1. And he's been directing every John Wick since.
No, well,
it turned out great.
Yeah. He had, the first one was co-directed. I did read about that.
Yeah.
But every one since.
Okay, he did a really good job. The story, the plot for all of them are pretty thin. Especially the first one. It works. Well, a lot of people I know criticized it, but I mean, the guy was the stunt director for the Matrix movies. So I mean, honestly, all he could do is just nonstop action scenes, and it'd be fine.
Yeah, honestly, in the first movie at least, I thought the plot was simple enough to where it worked because even it's not like anything. Well, yeah, it's just literally, hey, you kill my dog, I'm literally gonna kill.
But whenever somebody ever explained the movie to me, they're like, oh yeah, he goes and kills a bunch of people because of his dog. Without that context, it's just and then I went to see the movie, it's like, oh yeah, it's because his wife gave him the dog, and that's the last thing he has. So it's
so many. I went to see the movie in high school with a bunch of my friends, and we got out of the theater, and they're like, that plot was so stupid. I'm like, really? No. Did you not watch the first, were you not paying attention? It's okay, his wife dies. I don't know. I thought it was cancer or something because she was in a hospital. But she dies. She gives him a dog to remember her by. Immediately, not even 2 days later, his dog gets its fucking neck snapped in front of him, and they steal his car and trash his house.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think that's enough of a reason to go off and start killing people.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's just a simple premise that basically kicked off this entire franchise, because the next two movies took the kind of hints at lore and just fucking went with it.
Yeah, well, I'd say the first one's it's a straightforward plot, but there's a lot of nuances, as far as setting up a world and stuff. You can introduce the Continental and all that stuff and the tokens. And the thing is too, it's never outright, at least from what I remember, it's not really outright stated. You kind of just pick up and put it yourself together, how it works,
Yeah, it's a lot of subtle world building, especially they set up some key characters in the other ones, the concierge, played by Lance Reddick, who's really great, great actor, but he sets it up, and then there's the Winston guy, the guy that runs the hotel, and it sets these guys up as these are really interesting characters, I'd like to see more of them, and then they're major roles in all of the subsequent movies, so it's pretty good. I like how they set it up, because it was enough to make you want to watch another movie, but it didn't feel like the movie was just, here's a really thin plot with some allusions to what could be a good sequel, but...
Yeah, and it could have been just fine doing just the first John Wick, but then the second one is okay, we did this really simple revenge story, now what are the repercussions of that? How do we continue the story? It's okay, well, he had a marker, and now that he's back in the game, he's obligated to fulfill it. So they kind of just went with the concepts and expanded on the concept of tokens in general, which the third one expands on even more. Not to get too much into spoilers, but is that a spoiler?
Man,
I don't know how much was revealed in the trailers. There's
I actually don't even think there's much to spoil because
all of the elements from the third one were already introduced in the previous movies. So I mean, I feel like you mentioning that they use a reoccurring element isn't much of a spoiler.
It's just good world building. It's one thing that I really like about the world of John Wick, especially in John Wick 3, is the fact that there are established rules. and they've been followed in every single movie, and breaking those rules actually has consequences on the character. So him killing somebody on company grounds in the second one is the entire cause of the third movie. And he almost basically, you know, fucks up his whole life just trying to fix that.
Oh yeah. Not to blow smoke up my own ass, but actually in college I did audio engineering, and I did a sound replacement for an actual scene in John Wick 2 where he has a fight that goes across New York and it ends on a continental ground. Mm-hmm. But to finish the last, there's like a 3-act fight, finish the last act on a continental ground, and then Winston's character comes in and he's like, hey, don't do that. I don't want to have to do this to you. So it sets up like, wow, these guys are like literally at each other's throats the whole movie. They want to kill each other. As soon as the fight gets on the hotel grounds, they just stop. Like dead in their tracks, on the verge of killing each other, just stop because they know how fucked up it is. So when you watch it, you're like, oh wow, what happens when they do that? And then John Wick 3 is like, yo, it's real bad. You don't want to do that.
No, I mean, it is cool, like, especially with the world building too, just because, the world they set up, because there's like respect in a way, you know, for everybody.
And the rules.
Yeah, like there's respect for the rules, and like, you know, you don't ever get a moment of, you know, like, nah, fuck the rules, like, and then, you know, they kind of just get past it. It's always like, yeah, like, you know, you get like what you guys just mentioned, that the fight, as soon as it gets to the hotel, they stop because they know the rules and they respect them. You know, that's
in another action movie, like they would have just been like,
whatever.
Well, in this also it shows, like, even in this third one, like one of the very first parts of the movie, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that somebody tries to basically break the rules and is almost immediately punished for it.
Oh yeah.
So basically, this movie starts with John Wick on the run because he...
Does it pick up exactly where the second one left off?
Basically immediately.
I think so, yeah. Pretty much, I think like a week
hour.
after or something.
Well, I thought he gave him 1 hour. So it takes place during that 1 hour. And that's what it picks
does
up.
Still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember.
He gives him a 1 hour head start to basically run away, and that's what he does in the hour. And then the first few minutes of the movie are during that hour, and then from then on, it's just basically like nonstop.
Yeah.
And it kind of like anytime it kind of slows down, it will reward you with an action scene, basically.
Yeah, but yeah. I can't lie. I really thought I felt it drag a lot after the.
It is noticeably the longest movie. Yeah, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it's. I think it's well paced, but I think it was a little too long. Like the runtime I'm just looking at it right now. The runtime for the first 2 movies was about an hour. Okay, well, all of them are around 2 hours, but first movie was about an hour and a half, second one was 2 hours, third one was 2 hours and 10 minutes. I felt like it was paced well, but there was a few too many big set pieces, because all of the movies seem like they build up to like, here's big set piece number 1, and then big set piece like number 2, and then maybe there's like a third set piece that's like not as memorable. But like John Wick 3, which I noticed and it was good, but it felt really tiring, was every set piece was super fucking memorable. It was fantastic.
That's one thing I wanted to comment on. Every single fight and action scene in this movie is completely different, and in a lot of cases it's shit that I've never seen before.
No, yeah, that's true. And especially because you know, he uses it's also cool because he uses some of the same moves. You notice, like, he has some signature moves, like one where he jumps up and, like, you know, fucking rolls the other guy and then has him by the arm or something. But
or they'll like hold somebody down and shoot them really up close in the head. They do that quite a bit.
But yes, each set piece, they find something new to do so that it doesn't get repetitive and just like straight up action going on, like, you know, mindless stuff. Like, it also, you know, it puts you, I don't know, in a way it makes you feel like, you know, like, ugh, you know.
Like with some more gory parts, yeah.
Yeah, this one I noticed was a little bit more brutal than the other movies. Yeah, to be honest, okay. I don't know. Maybe I should rewatch them. But me too.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, just the beginning, like, you know, that beginning fight with a particular book.
Oh, the book. Well, yeah, that was a lie.
I was like, Jesus.
I think the one part that they really did a good job was like the cinematography is always really good in these movies, but they keep it like just close enough to make you feel uncomfortable, not too close that it's like hard to follow, like something like Taken or Born.
I like never noticed any shaky cam during John Wick. I always can tell exactly what's happening because it's all on camera.
Well, it's a lot of like
Oh, sorry, continue.
No, you go ahead. It's shot like what?
It's shot like Hong Kong cinema, where they usually like use lots of wides, so that like they really like to show off their choreography. So it's great. And then especially with like all the really like heavy sound design in John Wick, like when you watch like that first like long fight, it's painful. It hurt to watch that fight. It just like,
are we talking about like, the I don't know what I had to not get.
You were talking about the book one.
Okay, the book one. Okay, yeah, that one was pretty.
That one, like it.
My favorite one is
brutal.
the one after that. The museum one.
There's so many like
there's so many. I don't even
know
every order is.
The museum one I think is one of my favorites without a doubt in the entire series.
The museum one.
This one had a lot of visual gags too. Like
which
there was a lot of comedy in this.
Yeah,
like not like it's really like
not like
black comedy.
Not like haha,
really,
here's a joke.
really
Just be
comedy.
like haha, that's very ironic and also kind of dark. It's like
because just the part. Oh my god! Like it's in the trailer, but yeah, it's basically a part where they're in the they're fighting in a museum. Yeah, the knife fight. They're in a museum, and then they're just having a fist fight because none of them have guns, and then they realize like, oh yeah, we're in a museum full of weapons, and then they just start chucking knives at each other, and I was fucking cackling the entire time. Because it was just
hilarious.
It was just so intense.
Oh, it hurt.
And they're just throwing them back and forth, and they're like bouncing and dodging them off each other. And then
well, it's like it gets really busy, so knives start going into the wrong guys too. So like the bad guys are throwing knives into each other, and it's just like, oh my god.
And he's just kind of waiting for him to finish, and then he just like gets him out of the way.
They really had like they used a lot of really interesting things, because like with the other set piece in the other movies, it was mainly just like, okay, here's a cool setting, and then we'll maybe give like Keanu Reeves like a cool gun. Like in the second movie, they did like a sewer fight, and they gave him like a machine gun. And like, oh, that's pretty neat. So it's like dark and like it's lit up by the muzzle flares. This one they had like in the trailers too. You can see they have a lot of stunt animals in this one, and they have a lot of cool environmental fights. And it's like, god damn! Every time they did something new, I was like, wow, that's refreshing. And I just after you got out of like a fight, like not even like 5 minutes ago, it's like, wow, this is already something really different. And there's some nods to the Matrix too. I don't know if you guys caught them, but
no, I didn't. I didn't watch the Matrix.
I've never seen.
Oh
the Matrix.
my god, you guys!
I just rewatched it at some point. It's on Netflix in America now, so
I rewatched it with my girlfriend because she'd never seen it. And I'm like, oh my god, all right. So we watched it, and there's the famous Matrix fight is like the lobby fight. That you've probably seen clips of it. It's where they're wearing their all leather. There's lots of slow-mo.
Run up a pillar and they're all that jazz.
But there's one of the fights later on in the movie. That one I think is spoiler territory, but the lighting mimics that of the big famous Matrix fight.
That
and
lighting really threw me
nice.
off, by the way. I don't know. At first it really bothered me until the fight actually started.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, is there anything else you want to say? No. Halle Berry, I was surprised with
how good she was, man.
How good she was. Good. And then I saw some go ahead.
I thought she was great, but I was kind of bothered that she didn't have as much screen time as I thought she was going to have.
I understand. Well, okay, so I liked her character, and I think what they were trying to do was not overuse her and make her seem like she's just kind of there to be there. It just kind of... I think it adds to the world building almost, that it's like, oh yeah, here's this really cool character, and you got just enough of them that you like them, you got a great fight scene with them, and now we're moving on. So that character exists. They might come back in future installments because John Wick 4 already got announced. But it gives you just enough time that you're not annoyed with it, per se.
No, that fight too,
and that goes for pretty much any characters or any places, basically.
No, yeah, that set piece in particular too with the dogs, like, yeah, that was... Again, like something else that was new because I had never seen it.
Oh yeah, I thought because the dogs are all over the promotions with Halle Berry. I'm like, okay, that's going to be really clunky and stuff like that. And it's like, well, they actually turn into pretty cool action stuff. And
it pretty much brought to life what I thought Call of Duty Ghosts was going to do with dogs. Where that game's like, check it out, you got attack dogs in this game. It's pretty cool. You get the game, okay, your attack dog just kind of runs up and like eats a guy. But in John Wick 3, Halle Berry really... Those dogs are fucked up, dude. Like, they made me uncomfortable because I love German Shepherds, but that made me like, oh my god, dude. Like, I don't want to touch a German Shepherd anymore.
Yeah, they were just going for the balls and stuff. Like,
Yeah, no, and they can't. The thing is, though, that's real. They have some padding on them, but you.
Oh yeah, no. They wouldn't even. They wouldn't even. They would linger the shot on. Like,
they would.
Like a dog like nabbing at a dude's arm or something.
Yeah, and the dog would keep going too after they got killed too. They wouldn't stop. That's the creepier part about it.
Just like imagine how good the fucking insurance must be on set for like, hey, so just in case this dog bites a little too hard and it punctures your balls, just watch out for that.
I think you can definitely tell that this movie does have a bigger budget than the other ones because they can just do so much more.
And even the CGI, like it looks. I mean, sometimes you can notice it, but for the most part, it looks really, really good. Like I'm guessing.
Go ahead. Sorry. No, you guys continue. I keep interrupting. Go ahead.
No. You go.
You're the guest. Discord delay, you know.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, we're doing this over the airwaves, but yeah. John Wick, like all the movies so far, I've noticed that they use a lot of CGI blood, which is usually a lot of people like, oh, CGI blood, that's awful, it's terrible. And like there's examples, like you can notice if you ever watch Walking Dead, when they switch from physical like prosthetics and stuff to CGI, it's really noticeable. But in John Wick, honestly, especially with the third movie, there was points where I wondered if they're using like actual squibs, just because they did just a really, really good job with it. And it was like, wow. It didn't really pull, because sometimes CGI blood, like, have you ever seen that scene in Rambo 4? If you knew there was a Rambo 4.
I'll be honest.
Yeah, I never watched the movie, but there's a famous scene where basically Sylvester Stallone gets on a machine gun, and for like just 5 minutes uncut, he just like blows people in half with a machine gun. And the CGI blood is terrible, and it just pulls you out of it, and you just want to laugh. And there's points in John Wick where he's mowing down like an equal amount of people as that scene. But at never at any point did I think, wow, that looks just goofy or fake. It just it was good. It was good. Good use of CGI.
It's just good because during the fight scenes you just see him adapt to stuff.
I'll be honest. I didn't even know it was CGI blood. There was only one shot where I could tell like it was really bad CGI blood. But other than that, I mean, I wouldn't have known the difference.
And sometimes I couldn't tell, like in the desert. Because that's also in the trailers that he's walking through a desert and stuff like that. I couldn't tell if he was on location or not. I couldn't tell, honestly.
Yeah, me either.
I couldn't tell if that was just a green screen, yeah.
I think most of it is shot on location, honestly, but I won't make that like a fact. Don't quote me on that because I'm not totally sure, but I know.
No, but also, no, like, for example, like that set piece where he's on a horse, like that would there was some footage of him doing that because he does his own stuff.
Oh yeah, well that was one of the first pictures released for the movie was John Wick on a fucking horse with a gun.
That got me so hyped up. I'm like, oh my god, dude, horse fight,
dude, that did not disappoint.
Yeah, again, it's just like every sequence has something new that you haven't quite seen exactly that way. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for the filmmaker in this.
No, and John Wick and Keanu Reeves, because that man.
Oh yeah,
he does most of.
And even Halle Berry. Apparently, she broke like 3 ribs in a rehearsal or something like that, just because she also was doing her own stunts. They released because back when like John Wick 1 or 2 came out, there was that one video of Keanu Reeves going around like a gun range, like with shotguns and pistols and like hitting all the targets. Halle Berry had like a really similar video put out like really recently, and so she was doing that kind of shit too and getting prepped the same way.
I feel like this was redemption for what's that movie called, the James Bond one?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Catwoman.
No, I mean that one too, but no, because she was supposed to get a spin-off of that Bond movie. What was it? The one with was it Pierce Brosnan?
What?
No,
I don't know.
2000. Come on, bro.
I thought she did one with Daniel Craig.
No, it wasn't with Daniel Craig. It was back in like 2001.
Oh, I
definitely
didn't watch that.
It was a Pierce Brosnan one. It was Die Another Day.
Yeah, the really goofy one. She was supposed to have like I heard she was bad in it. I haven't seen it, but she was supposed to have a solo spinoff from that. But because the movie was so shit, they canceled it. I felt like this was redemption for her for that and Catwoman.
Or even like, wasn't she also in like Kingsman 2? And she was pretty bad in that too.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I can't remember who was. I can't remember Kingsman 2.
Kingsman 2 was like such like a kick in the dick compared to Kingsman 1. I'm sorry,
but it was funny because Kingsman and John Wick, the first one, came out like almost around the same time. Like I feel like they were in the same quarter, and when that happened, I'm like, hell yeah, dude! It's like a action movie renaissance. And then John Wick 2 comes out, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome! I can't wait for Kingsman 2. And I watched Kingsman 2. I'm like,
oh,
what?
Oh, no.
Excuse me.
They turned the parody of James Bond into a James Bond movie. Oh no.
Yeah. I wonder how Bond 20 is going to be.
I don't know.
It's coming out.
Yeah. Is that what Daniel Craig's still?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig's in it, and Rami Malek's in it now because he got his Oscar.
Oh yeah, Rami Malek's
all I've seen for
great.
promotional materials.
Eric has some shit against Rami Malek.
I don't, not against him. I'm sure he's a cool guy or whatever. I'm just.
What's your problem with Rami Malek?
He hates Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay, yeah, I hate that.
That's fair.
I hate the movie. I don't hate him. I'm sure
I thought the movie was great, but in my defense, and a lot of the critics I saw, and I feel like it's unfair criticism, is just a lot of fatigue from like biopic movies. See, I've watched 2 biopics. And that was the second one.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, I never get tired of biopics. I don't find the formula to be like a hack job. But then when I watch everyone else's critiques and how many comparisons they do to other things, I'm like, okay, I get it. It's like when people hop into something like a sports video game or like annual entry game, and they just play like one of the later ones. They're like, oh, this game's great. I love it. And then everyone's like shitting on it.
It's like it's the exact same one.
It's like, fuck you. It's the same one as every other one. It's like, I haven't played the other ones. What are you talking about?
So basically, Rami Malek and John Wick. That's what I want.
No.
Rami Malek and everything. Have you ever seen Mr. Robot?
That's it.
I've just finished season 3.
I don't think I finished season 3 yet. I'm really close to, I think. It's so good. We're off on a huge tangent. John Wick's great. Do we have any other non-spoiler discussions?
Keanu Reeves should be in Mr. Robot. Rami Malek should be in John Wick 4. There we go. Tangent closed. It's connected.
All right. Any other non-spoiler things?
Horsefight was cool. I liked, honestly, one thing that really impressed me was the villains in this one. In the first one, the villains were okay. Like, there was an arrogant asshole, and then there was his dad, and those are the villains. And then there was, like, this, I can't remember her name, but, like, some chick who was breaking the rules. There's a couple people who broke the rules in the first one. But,
they all get killed. Like, she gets, like, punished by the high table. I guess which was kind of the first time that gets shown off. They
never made them as intense as, but I guess it's because, like, Keanu Reeves' bounty was, like 14 million, and theirs is probably just, like, 1 or 2 million. But, yeah. The villains in the first one were alright. The villains in the second one I didn't find very memorable. There's all Ruby I know Rose, is that one of the characters was...
She was pretty cool.
Mute, yeah. I thought that was cool, but I think the problem with her being mute was that, like, that's a cool character trait, but it's hard to make you memorize her other than the fact that she's mute. I thought John Wick 3 there's a couple of villains, the Adjudicator. They were really impressive, and then the other guy who's later on in the movie, I won't spoil him, but
the ninjas.
It comes in like the third. Yeah, basically, there's like a ninja clan, and he's the leader of it, and he was fantastic. Like every time he came on, like he almost stole the performances from Keanu Reeves and the other actors, just because he was just really charismatic guy. So good job in the casting.
Also, I noticed really early on that one of his like follower guys was the guy from the Raid Redemption, and I was so fucking hype.
Dude, the final fight. Anyway, that's spoilers. But
okay.
There's a few times where I remember it like made me think of the Raid a few times.
I think there's some definitely some influences. All right, guys, before we jump into the second half where we discuss some more spoilers, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor this episode. That's Skillshare. Skillshare is the online resource that has 20,000 plus classes. You get all of those classes, almost like Netflix, of learning for less than $10 a month. But if you use our special link in the description down below, you'll actually get a free 2-month free trial. So you can actually cancel at any time. So if you want to test out the service and see what they have to offer, like Neil Patel's Getting Your Podcast Off the Ground course, if you want to make podcasts like us here, you can go ahead and check out Skillshare with that link in the description. So thanks, Skillshare. Anyway, into spoilers. What did we want to talk about as far as the first spoiler discussion?
Okay, as soon as fucking possible. A samurai guy, what's his name? His performance and his setup, Zero. He is fantastic. I think he deserves his own spin-off movie.
Really?
And the fight, the final fight in the movie, where it's hit, like basically, Keanu Reeves is going through all of his apprentices. Just literally felt like the last handful of fights in the Raid, especially the 2-on-1 fight.
Because it actually had like one guy from the Raid, and I think the other guy was actually like I think one of the people was actually like Keanu Reeves' like fighting mentor or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't as soon as I got out, I was thinking about that scene. I went up and I looked if the guy who directed the raid was helping at all on that movie, because I felt like that was like, it was either like such a blatant reference to the raid, or it was just like the same guy is working on it. So
I'm almost certain the director at least saw the movie. Like, I am almost certain that he at least watched it, because the fact that they had the actor from it, who is a great like martial artist in general, and it's kind of funny seeing the juxtaposition of that compared to Keanu Reeves, who's just like this grizzled like assassin guy, just going up against like some martial artists where he's just like kind of slow and exhausted. It's just so fucking good. I thought that was a
really good note where like you could tell there's some points in the fight where I felt like, oh, did it just like accidentally slow down like the projector or something? But no, he was starting to get slow because he was physically getting tired. I just thought that was a really good like detail to add, because so many action movies, the main character just blows through all these people and they never breaks a sweat.
Oh, not only that, but like reloading. You know?
Oh yeah, there's reloading.
Yeah, like when it comes to guns and stuff, like they show him like constantly reloading and having to do that quickly and stuff.
Yeah, or him like setting up and like he has a belt of shotgun shells, and when he runs out, he just drops the gun. It's like he knows he's running out of ammo, and he's a trained professional, so it shows that professionalism. There's a point during the Halle Berry fight where she shot like 30 rounds out of her pistol and she never reloaded, and it was just like one time, like what? That was just like the only time I ever saw like a slip up with that. But I'm just realizing, I'm thinking like, okay, it's Halle Berry, I'll give her a break.
That's like one of my favorite parts in that is where him and some guy are like point the guns at each other and they both run out of ammo at the same time and they both reload as fast as they can, and Keanu Reeves shoots him.
I really thought he was just gonna throw his gun at the guy's head.
Well, that did happen at one. He threw he threw an assault rifle at a guy at one point.
Oh yeah, he just fucking ran and just chucked it at him.
Yeah,
well, that's why you saw him like take off the strap. He's like, "Oh, what's he gonna do with it?" And he just fucking throws it at somebody.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you guys want to go through each set piece?
Oh my god, it's just so.
Tell your favorite part.
Book part, pretty violent. I feel like that actor is somebody, but I don't know who it is.
That guy was fucking huge.
Yeah,
he was tall as fuck. I was like, oh my god, please.
And again, my favorite fight is also the doctor part at the very beginning where like he's mid-stitch and he has to stop because he gets excommunicado. And he has to fucking shoot him. But he's a doctor, so he can actually point out where he needs to be shot. That's fucking good.
It was really funny. Like the whole audience, when I went to saw it, just laughed at that part. And at first I was like, what the fuck is he doing? I'm like, oh, he's got to make it look like he was forced to stitch him up.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, it's nice that they, again, like just having lots of those details there to make sure it's like, hey, these people also respect the rules, and there's all this stuff going on behind the scenes that it alludes to make sure that like, oh, we're not breaking our own cinematic universe's rules, which is nice.
Which 3 movies in and they still have the rules pretty consistent and have done nothing but expand upon them. It's pretty admirable.
It's like, damn, dude, that's a lot of effort for a guy, especially for like a group of people who the director's never directed films before. He's really done a good job of keeping continuity between all of them.
It's what was he? Was he a video game director before this, or a music video director?
No, I think he was just
he was just a stunt director for like a ton of movies.
He was also one of the body actors for The Crow once that main actor got shot.
Yeah,
that's a whole weird scenario. I still haven't seen The Crow. I just know what happens in it.
It's a good movie.
But that was like one of his first things, was just act like as an actor and a stunt double was doing that or something like that. And it's just crazy to think that John Wick was the first thing that he did, and he's been directing them since.
Yeah, he
can basically do whatever. I'll watch any of his movies in the future, like hands down.
Yeah, he's done a fantastic job. He's got a bunch of, I'm just looking at it right now, he's got like a bunch of different non-John Wick related projects coming up, like two TV shows.
Oh yeah, and they also said like Highlander or something like that. He might make one of those.
How many goddamn Highlanders have there been?
Are you excited for them to make the Continental show?
I didn't know they're making one, but they're making it.
At first, whenever I heard about it, I didn't really care because I guess that was in between 2 and 3. Because the span between these movies is always pretty long, but or at least it feels like it. Next movie is only 2 years away, which is pretty cool.
What's really weird is that in the third one, it lets you know that the trilogy of movies took place like within 1 month.
Like they're all. I thought they were all within like the space of a week.
I thought he said weeks. It could have been 1 week.
Yeah.
If it was 1 week, that's even more impressive.
Well, yes, it was weeks, and then I guess it's because 2 takes place right after, or 3 takes place right after 2, and then
2.
1.
There's a small gap
between
between 1 and 2, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because he has to get to Noah's new dog and everything like that.
Like, they're very like back-to-back movies, which is it's cool, but it kind of also is like, how does I guess you continue about what the Continental's gonna
I have
be.
no idea what it's about. I assume it's just like a spin-off story, but like I wasn't really interested. But as long as the director and the writer have some sort of input on it, I'm fine with it, I guess. Mm-hmm. I think it's supposed to be on HBO, and HBO already has like a shit ton of shows coming out right now after Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they kind of have to pick up the pace after that, because I think the only other... was Mad Men HBO or is that AMC?
That was AMC. But the thing is, like, with Game of Thrones being over, like, one episode of that could fund, like, 2 different TV show seasons. So, like, they're kind of just doing whatever now.
There's the meme on Twitter where everyone's, like, search results for how do I cancel my HBO subscription, like, the hour after Game of Thrones ended was just, holy shit. Anyway.
Or you could just bum your HBO off somebody else like I do. And that's how I watch the season.
Definitely sign up for free trials of HBO Go.
That is also an
sign
option.
up with a promo code Boy Dickface for 3 years free of HBO. Link in the description.
You know his fucking @ is actually your boy Dickface. He has not changed it still.
Didn't you just like mention lately that you should probably change your @ It's like one of your podcasts.
Yes, I keep saying it, and he doesn't do it.
That's fine. It's fine.
Someday.
Do you ever tweet at like support Twitters and then do they say hello Mr. Dickface? They ever say that?
No, I hope they do.
Damn, I should start. That's a good idea.
Please address me as Dickface, not Eric.
Right.
Thank
you. Sorry, King Dickface.
All right. Mr. Damn, Dickface. This one actually ran a little long. I know Eric kind of has to. Do you have to go somewhere after this? You good for a bit longer? Yeah, I think we got all our points out. I mean, honestly, during the non-spoiler section.
I mean, if you guys want to take it longer, that's cool.
All right. Do you have any other points, Kief?
Honestly, no. I just thought like every scene was very memorable. It's kind of tiring because of it, but honestly, I still keep thinking about like the Morocco fight, which was shot on location. I looked it up.
Do you think that fight was a little too long?
I felt that one was a little too long, and I think the problem
it was repetitive. I feel like they shot a bunch of like doubles of everything because you kind of see the same thing repeated twice. Halle Berry shoots a dude, dog bites the balls, and then they do it again.
I think the problem was they probably had some contract stuff with they need to include this much Halle Berry if they're going to list her as like a top billed character. Because like she comes in thinking like the marketing campaign made me think that like the second act of the movie is
all her.
She's one of the main characters. Yeah. So I think they just needed to include a lot of Halle Berry, but they also didn't want to like cut out Keanu Reeves.
I think the amount she was in it is perfect. Personally,
it just made the fight drag a little long. Yeah, but I don't know.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one who recognized it.
Smallest critique I could make about it.
Absolutely, that's all I could point to. I mean, honestly. Other than that, are we good to go into ratings?
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, Eric, what do you go ahead and give it? Also, wait. One thing I want to preface first before ratings. Is this the best John Wick?
Okay.
In my opinion,
loaded question.
In my opinion, this is the best John Wick. I'm going to say it right now. Hot take, possibly. Eric disagrees.
No, actually, that's the take I've been seeing everywhere. That is the best one.
This is my favorite John Wick movie.
I feel like I'm in the minority. I still think the first one's the best.
See, I'm with you because like I think the first one is probably still my favorite, but I think technically John Wick 3 is probably the best because it looked fantastic, stunts were great, acting was solid. But like I still think I had like a sweet spot for the first one just because it was really refreshing when it came out. Yeah. And seeing it in the theaters, like when it came out, I was like, oh my god, it's the best action movie I've ever seen. Wow.
No, John Wick 1's great, and I'm not saying it's not like by action movie standards they're all great.
I don't know. I think
John Wick 1. What's up?
I think you're saying it's not great.
No, stop. John Wick 1, I haven't seen it in a long time, so I need to go back and watch it.
Exactly, so you can't.
Chapter 2, I think, suffered a bit as far as pacing. There were some parts of it were like super slow, but this one is just
definitely
like
the weakest entry in the three, which is not saying much since all of them are very great movies. Yeah. It's just I'd
rather go watch this to like anything else, like action, like White House Down or whatever else is going on at the time. Did you see the trailer for Angel Has Fallen or whatever before the movie? The fucking trilogy of White House Down movies.
No, isn't it quadruple now? Isn't there 4?
No, it was Olympus Has Fallen,
Olympus has fallen, London Has Fallen,
and then this is like Angel Has Fallen. No, you're thinking of the other White House movie that came out the same year with Channing Tatum.
White House Down? No, there's only one of those.
It was Olympus Has Fallen was the more serious one. The comedy one with Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum was White House Down.
Honestly, those came out the same year. Movie.
They came out the same year.
Yeah, I remember, and I looked, and I was like, yeah, these are pretty much the same. Just one's more funny. And I looked up on Google to see if anyone was like on Reddit, see if anyone was like thinking like, hey, is there something going on here? But no one
commented on
it. No one said anything. I was like, okay, I guess so.
I think it'd be kind of funny to compare those two really trashy action movies together and see which one's
best. You should do a special podcast episode where you do a side-by-side comparison.
Patriotism cast.
Don't you dare disrespect Gerard Butler.
You just did by fucking up his name.
Favorite American hero.
Is he even American? He's
British? Yeah, he's not. He's Australian, I think.
Oh my god. All right. Okay, so best John Wick. I say yes. You guys say no.
Technically, yes.
Rating.
You guys go first.
Eric, go ahead and go.
7.5.
7.5.
I know. That's. I'm the hot take.
So you know what? This is actually one of the movies I've enjoyed the most out of the year. I'm gonna say it. It kept my attention a bit more than Endgame did.
Wow.
That's gonna piss off Eric.
Holy shit. And to think, I thought this one like I started to doze off whenever it slowed down. I thought that's the only bad thing I will say. I think the story didn't constitute the length. I think it might have been more of a thing of like, hey, we have these certain set pieces. We have to find a way to make them go to each.
I have such an issue finding any problems with this movie. Besides, my one nitpick is that a fight scene was slightly too long. I was going between like a 9.5 and a 10. I get that my rating system's kind of all over the place. I'm going to give it a 10. Fuck it.
See, when I rate movies, I'm going off of my IMDb because I was fresh out the gate. First one, I gave it an 8. Second one, I gave a 7. Third one, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think it was great. It wasn't perfect because, like, when I rate movies, sorry if you guys have your canon with your podcast.
No, I mean, my way of doing it's always like 5, and then I go like, I say I go from 5, but like with this, it's like, okay, it's a 10 until I mark something down. I'm just like, I can't think. I guess I just have like a super dark sense of humor about shit. Like really dark comedy just makes me laugh more than anything because I don't expect it. Because it's not like edgy dark humor. It's just dark humor. And that's why I love the show Barry so much. Mm-hmm. It's just so fucking... Like, I was cackling during the fucking knife fight, and it's just, like, something I had never seen before, and it's just...
They did a really good job of that, I think. I think that kind of makes it stand out a little bit more than the other ones, because the other ones have a few jokes, mostly, like, cheesy one-liners, but the third one had lots of good humor. So I stand by my 8. I think it's a great movie. Sure. I think I would recommend it to anyone who ever has seen an action movie and has not hated it. Like, even if you don't love action movies, I still think it's, like... I'd recommend watching it. Just, like... No, this is what a really good action movie is. Because I see some people who are like, oh yeah, I saw Taken. I don't really like action movies. I'm like, nah, dude.
I think I would at least say watch the whole trilogy. Because I think this one relies on a lot of world building from the first two. But yes, fair. No, I think this is definitely, the best one in my opinion for, in general. But I think as a block of 3 action movies, it's the best you can get. Honestly.
Oh yeah. I'm excited for the 4th one.
Oh, and how many movie series, by the way, can you say I'm excited for the 4th movie? I'm just saying, like that in itself.
Spider-Man 3.
Spider-Man 2, the 3rd one.
No, but
I am excited for Spider-Man. I don't know if you wanted to come on for that one, Kief. I know Spider-Man: Homecoming was like your favorite MCU movie.
I honestly, I don't know. I was talking to... Who was I talking to?
I don't know.
My friend Curly. I was asking myself rhetorical question. Jeez. I was talking to my friend Curly, who we both like Spider-Man, but we watched the trailer again together, and I'm not particularly excited for the new Spider-Man movie. Hot take.
I hope it does something subversive and actually warrants not taking a break.
I'm a huge fan of Jake Gyllenhaal.
Me too.
I'm a big fan of Spider-Man. I think Homecoming was good. It wasn't as good as my man Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi trilogy, but it's solid. So I'll probably watch it, but I probably won't watch it in theaters.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bastard. Probably next movie I'm gonna watch is Godzilla. Because I hate myself.
Well, yeah, I think in 2 weeks that's probably the movie we're gonna watch. The next one we're watching is Brightburn. I haven't watched a single thing from it because I just. You guys are
lucky because I don't get a lot of movies in Canada because isn't Brightburn an A24 film?
I think
so.
Yeah. They don't get into Canada.
Really?
They don't make it for distribution to Canada. No. Sometimes you might be able to see them in Toronto, but the only theater that was playing Shape of Water was in Toronto. Bro, and I was lucky to see it on the second release when they re-released the movie again.
What the fuck, man?
It's brutal.
That's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, the summer is a little biased. I know Brightburn's probably not going to do well in theaters, and I'll quote this back whenever we talk about it.
No, but
I'm almost certain it's not going to do very well. It's going to go up against Aladdin.
No, but also, I mean, I think...
let's be honest. I don't think Aladdin's going to do very well.
I think it'll do...
Nah, man.
The live-action Disney movies apparently do pretty well at the box office.
I thought the same thing with... what was it? Beauty and the Beast and...
It's like one of the top grossing movies.
That thing was like number one for, I think, 7 weeks or something. Like
I didn't even know it came out until I saw the toys. I saw the toys after I knew the movie like released. I saw Jungle Book in theaters though, and I was like, oh, it's okay.
I saw that on a plane.
It's kind of what those movies are. They're good plane movies.
I couldn't be mad. It's just because I don't have Jon Favreau directing.
Yeah, you should go back to making Spider-Man movies. I mean, Iron Man movies. Like Iron Man.
Oh, no. Bad news for you. Bad news for you.
I know.
Who's going to tell them?
They should make Iron Man prequels.
Oh, no. All right. I think that's...
Make a prequel trilogy to Iron Man.
Hey, honestly.
Shut up.
They did with Star Wars. It worked out great.
Disney Plus, I'm down, just...
Alrighty. That's a... I'm glad we got to talk so long about John Wick because that was honestly this has been one of this and Endgame have been like the best movie experiences I've had in like a long time, and I'm glad that like my love of going to the theater has kind of been like rejuvenated. Is that the correct term?
People said like movie theaters are dying, but I don't know. I see good turnouts for like a lot of these new blockbusters that are coming out. Apparently some of them are like big franchises or remakes, but I'm just glad people are going out and seeing movies because.
I'm excited for a Godzilla movie, even though the first one was like, okay, it looks cool.
See, I have a first edition Godzilla action figure on my desk. I have every Godzilla movie on DVD on my DVD shelf. And I made the effort. Now, you can cut this part out, but it was so hard to get the distribution for Shin Godzilla. I couldn't rent it. I couldn't buy it. I literally had to torrent a Japanese version of the movie with a really bad subtitle just to see Shin Godzilla.
That's the one where he kills the American Godzilla, right?
No, that's the new Japanese remake of the first one.
Oh, I thought they'd kill it and call it Zilla and call Americans stupid for thinking it was Godzilla.
Maybe they did. I honestly can't remember. It was
he like
I really
throws it into
follow
the
plot
Sydney
at all.
house. He like throws it into like the Sydney Opera House or whatever. Anyway,
it was good.
Such a fucking tangent from John Wick.
Good movie, Godzilla. Thumbs up. Very nice.
All right. Thank you, Kief, for joining us. You want to go ahead and shout out your stuff?
Oh, yeah. Check me out on all social media at Kiefercampney, KIEFERCAMPNEY. I have to explain it because no one can spell my name right. Also, I have a YouTube channel called The Neon Carnival. Not to be confused with the Coachella concert, who we are fighting legally right now, but... Go check it out. We got a good podcast. I wish I was joking, but they sent me an Instagram DM saying, "Close your social media accounts, please."
When was this? Was that recent?
That was just another. They did it again. It's every Coachella. They come at us with like a cease and desist, and then we're like, "Okay, how can we work around this together?" And then they never respond, and then they send me a new one the next Coachella.
The next year, so they probably just do like a general search to try to.
I feel like their guy that works the social media is just off payroll, so he just gives up, and they hire a new guy next year, and so it's the same loop every year. So right now, check it out, the Neon Carnival. Hopefully we don't get taken down.
Which is now distributed on iTunes and stuff with the new episodes.
Yeah, shout out to the Buzz Network. They got us on iTunes and Google Play and Spotify because we couldn't do it ourselves because we're too lazy.
Podcast network shit coming soon. As far as our social media, we're here on the Buzz. We're on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. Hopefully soon. I still have been struggling to make a profile picture for this show, so I haven't put it up yet. That's the only reason.
Just get a picture of you just smiling with a bag of popcorn.
I'm really tempted to make the Discord face. Something like that. Just make that the profile picture. Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at DefendTheEnd. And Eric, I want you to say your profile. I want you to feel happy about it.
You can follow me at It's Your Boy Dickface on Twitter. And that's with 2 C's, Dick with 2 C's.
That makes it okay.
You can follow me on Instagram at just Your Boy Dickface. And
the brand recognition.
That's about it. I think that's it.
All right.
I'm going to follow you right now so I don't forget. Cool. Can you spell it out again for me, just for the whole audience?
On Twitter, it's...
Yeah? God damn it.
Let me hold on, I got to pull it out. It's YABOYDICCFACE.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
God damn it. He doesn't even follow you. He just want to embarrass
you. I know, right? I'm like refreshing my timeline right now.
I did it.
I'm like, please.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us for this extra thick discussion of John Wick, the franchise, basically, and the third one. So check us out on social media. Check us out next week where we talk about Brightburn, ideally. And have a great day. So, bye, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Have a good time.